For any blogger that wants to significantly grow the reach and discoverability of their blog content, there's basically one thing that I'm always going to recommend. That is to create video content. I want to talk to you about what this can do for you, but also I want to show you just how simple it can be. Why does it work so well? It works so well because these platforms, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, they're literally designed to take content and put it in front of the kind of people who might be interested in it. It doesn't happen automatically. We have to do it well. We have to do it right. But when we do it right, it really helps to grow the reach of your brand and of your website. What we're trying to do is create videos, at first at least, that will do really, really well in search, whether that's Google search or YouTube search. And as those videos start to perform well in search, YouTube will do its job and start to push them out to other people who watch the same kinds of videos as the people who watched your video. But first, I want to give you a quick update on Project Double Time. I've had a lot of people asking, and it ties in really well with what I'm talking about here in this video. Well, at this point, I should have about 170 blog posts on the website. What I have published right now is 40. Now, I don't want to make excuses for why that is. Obviously, things have happened this year, life has happened, and so I just haven't had time to do a lot more than that. Also, I'm trying to do as much of this myself as I possibly can, leaning very little on the rest of my team. So at this stage, what am I going to do to try to ensure that I don't have to run 40 miles at the end of the year? Well, I'm jumping straight into video content. I am in the middle of this challenge to publish 30 videos in 30 days. I'm not talking about creating shorts. I'm talking about creating videos of the same quality that people will come to expect on that channel in the long term. But what I want to encourage for you is to just create some videos that go along with specific blog posts. So the first step to creating good video content to support your blog is to identify the topics, the queries that you've written about, the blog posts you've already written, or that you plan to write about that are best suited for video content. These are usually topics like tutorials and how-to kind of content, experiments or tests, case studies, and product reviews. These represent a lot of the content that's been being created on blogs ever since blogs basically began. And yet, for the most part, it's been done through writing and sometimes photos, and now occasionally video content. And what are we finding? Well, as they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. A video is worth 10,000 pictures. When it comes to these kinds of topics, oftentimes being able to demonstrate something, or in a product review, being able to show, look, I physically have the product, goes a long way to building a high level of trust with the audience. And when you start to build that trust, Google picks up on that too, and it gives you substantially more authority. Once you've identified which topics on your website you want to make videos about, or that you should make videos about, then we can plan out exactly how we're going to use video to supplement the blog content. For the video, we don't necessarily want to repeat exactly what's in the blog, but we do want to demonstrate the most visual aspects of the topic. For tutorials and how-tos, we should actually demonstrate the thing that we're trying to explain to them how to do. Literally do all of the steps. For experiments, actually do the experiment, actually do the test. If it's something you're going to do on a computer, that's fine. Get a bit of screen recording and use that to create a video explaining the experiment and demonstrating as much of it as possible. For case studies, actually go through the case study. Go through what's the setup, what does it look like, what are the boundaries of that case study, what are the specific things that you're looking for. Just put it all together and then actually demonstrate what it is that you're trying to do. For product reviews, we should actually show the product, and we should discuss and even demonstrate the experiences we had with that product. If there's something about it that kind of let you down, try to show it, try to demonstrate it in some way. If there's a feature of that product that you thought was really, really cool, show that in a video. It's gonna be a lot more easy to pass that information on to the viewer, to the reader, in a video format than it is if you try to just use words. It also, again, speaks so much to your credibility. When there's so much fake content on the internet today, people writing product reviews of products they've never touched or even seen, other than maybe a photo on Amazon. It's so fake, so make yours real. But in addition to leveling up the trust as people read through your blog content and see these videos that you're going to want to embed in those articles, it's also going to help you to rank a lot better in search. We're finding more and more and more that a lot of these kinds of search queries are yielding video results higher up. They're being featured more prominently than the actual written results on the internet. And so while the article that you wrote that goes along with this video could do pretty well in search on its own, there's a really good chance that your video is going to outrank that. Also, the second biggest search engine on the planet is not Bing, it is still YouTube. And so there are people that are going on YouTube and performing a search, and when they search on YouTube, they will not come across your blog post, but there's a decent chance they're gonna come across your video. That's why in addition to just embedding these videos in the blog post so that the people reading the blog post can see the video and benefit from that video content and have more trust for you, we're also in the video itself going to reference the blog content and what's there that isn't also in the video. That way people who watch your video elsewhere have a good reason to want to come over to your blog. It'll build up your brand recognition, but it'll also get you a lot of clicks. So now let's talk about how we can craft the blog content to best supplement the video content. What most creators want to do is say, okay, there's a video, it's a good video, let's make a blog post about it. And they basically like take a transcript of the video, run it through ChatGPT, and now they have a blog post. That is not what we're talking about here. That's probably better than nothing, but it's not that good either. What we actually want to do is create something that supplements the video. So if you already have some of these blog posts written, you create a video showing the really visual aspects of it. Now we're just going to tweak the blog post a little bit. Let's talk about how we're going to do that. First of all, for tutorials, we still want to list out the steps, right? If we have a how-to, we want to list out the steps. It's really helpful to someone who watched the video and who saw everything that you demonstrated to also have those visual cues so that as they go through the steps, they don't necessarily have to watch and rewatch and rewatch and rewatch parts of the video. We want to be as helpful as possible for the reader. Even though it might be beneficial to you from the YouTube algorithm standpoint to have people rewatching little clips of your video over and over and over again, the more helpful it can be, the more likely your video and blog content is going to be picked, and we're going to get more traffic that way. But in addition to writing out the steps, which is something that they get in the video, it's not something that like, if somebody watches the video on YouTube, they're gonna be like, oh, I better go over to their blog so I can get the steps written out. No, in addition to that, we can have things like a list of the tools and materials that are needed. You can, in the video, you can say, as I do this more and more, I may make updates to this process to be more helpful. I'll be able to talk about those updates over in my blog. Anything that you can add information-wise that would be beneficial to the viewer, but that doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense to have in video form, is gonna be better to put on your blog. I mentioned a tools and materials list. In a video, you could say, for this job, you're going to need a hammer, some nails, and then start like listing off all these things, but that's something that they watch and they're gonna be like, well, hold on, like, let me screenshot this or something. No. Just give them the tools and materials list. It's a great opportunity, by the way, to link to affiliate products, but that is a really helpful thing for people to have. It gives them a solid reason to wanna just click a link and be able to have that written list in front of them in addition to your video. How about experiments? Well, with experiments, it can be really beneficial to outline, these are the steps of the experiment, here's what I actually did. In the video, you show all this, and so that, again, is just kind of a helpful overview, so we don't have to go into like tremendous detail there. But one of the best things that we can do is we can include a lot more of the data gathered as well as the analysis that we did. In a video, if you go too crazy on numbers, people stop following and they just they lose interest and they're gone. So if you can include more of the data for those who are interested in the actual blog post, those who want to see it and those who want to do their own analysis or who want to take the analysis you did and like see all of the different outcomes that you or conclusions that you came to, that's going to be a lot better experience for them rather than going through, here are the 15 different conclusions I came up to when I did this experiment. In a video, it's probably best to only highlight a few, the most important ones or the most valuable ones. But reference that you have a whole lot more information to share. It's all just over in the blog post. Then include it in the blog post. Similar to experiments, case studies, right? We can have an overview of what that case study was and what it entailed. We can talk about the process a little bit, but also we can have a lot more of the conclusions from that case study outlined right there in a blog post, rather than trying to cover all of it in a video format. You see how these supplement each other? We're not just rehashing the exact same information in both places. Each one offers something that the other doesn't do as good a job of. Now, how about product reviews? In a blog post where we're reviewing products or even comparing multiple products, it can be fantastic to talk about, here's the test criteria that I used. Here's some photos of the products. Obviously, here's links to the products where you can go get them. Here's some comparison tables that cover more than just the specs, right? You can do comparisons based on the testing that you did. We did a video reviewing RGB lights for YouTubers a few years ago. And in that, we literally created a spreadsheet where we're like, okay, we charged these all the way up, and then we turned them to full power, turned them on. How long did they last before the battery died? That was a test that we did that we could put in a comparison table. When your comparison table literally only shows the specs that are on the internet, your comparison table is not better than the auto-generated one on Amazon. So your blog post has no real value. Obviously, in a blog post for product review, we can also talk about the specific things we liked about each product. We can talk about our specific complaints about each one, supporting the video, but in the video we get to show a lot more. And in the blog post, we're gonna summarize more of that, right? So in the video, I might highlight a few of the specific features I really liked, or a couple of the specific things I didn't like. But in the blog post, I can cover more of them. I can say, well, here are actually 10 issues that I had with it, but in the video, it just doesn't make sense to go through all 10 of those things. It just makes the video way too long. And then I wanna reiterate, for this strategy to work really well, we need to reference the blog post within the video itself, not just writing in the description, oh, look, here's a link to the blog post, not even just writing a comment on the video, which you can then pin to the top, so it's the very first comment, and that's great. That's a great place to put a link to your blog post. But within the video itself, you should say something along the lines of, I also have a lot more information about this over on my website. If you click the link that's down in the description or in the pinned comment below, you'll be able to see that. It'll really help you as you follow along with the rest of this video. Likewise, in the blog post, yes, we want to embed the video within the blog post, but also within the text of the blog post, we should reference that video. We should say, in the video below, I show you exactly my experience with this product. There are actually a couple of things that really stood out that made this one the one that I absolutely recommend. It's gonna encourage people to want to click and watch that video, and they're gonna spend a lot more time on your website, as well as build a lot more trust in you. Now, one of the things on YouTube that can really, really help to get your videos to spread further is when people engage with those videos, getting people to like the videos, getting people, more importantly, to comment on those videos can do a lot to help YouTube recognize the value that these videos have and to spread them to more people. One of the things, this is brought to me by a Project 24 member, I think it's a great idea to grow a YouTube channel. But one of the ideas that was brought up about in getting more engagement, getting more people to comment on the videos, is to offer to do like a YouTube live, to say, I will go live on this channel and I'm gonna be answering all the questions that I get in the comments on these videos. I'll also take live questions, but I'm gonna answer the questions from my comment section very first. Speaking of, I'm gonna be doing a live in the near future in which I'm going to be answering questions from these videos that came up in the comments. So if you have questions about internet marketing, anything related to internet marketing, make sure that you ask them in the comment section. I will answer those questions first before I take live questions in the YouTube live. So I would encourage you to go ahead and do that, and I hope to see you in our next video.